Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Howdy, all y'all. Another wonderful day here. We have a remarkable guest today. In business, there are many sayings. One of them is always be networking. In other words, every time you have a chance to meet somebody, expand your network. And the people that you network with are not necessarily people that you're selling stuff to. You're trying to make yourself aware so that when somebody says, hey, do you know somebody who does this? He said, yeah, I know. Well, today I am honored to have Daniel Gomez. He's just a few hours away from me here in Texas. He's an award-winning business coach, success coach, and executive coach, major motivational keynote speaker, book publisher, involved in so many different aspects of business and life. So, Daniel, please join me.
Red, thank you for having me today, sir. I'm pumped up and grateful to be here, man. Thank you so much.
Daniel's one of those guys that in the process of networking, we bumped into each other on an event. I can't even remember which one it was. And we said, hey, your background looks great for this show and just in business, because both of us are in publishing. Both of us are in different aspects, a lot of overlap in what we do. And so we get to talking, and a 5-minute conversation became a half hour. And I said, hey, you're perfect for the show. Let's get you out there and talking about things. So tell us a little bit about your life before you became the inspirational wonder you are today.
Man, well, Daniel Gomez was just an ordinary guy who loved people. You know, I was in the automotive industry for almost 20 years, ran a Chevrolet point. I still wear my Chevrolet ring, learned a lot about business, had over 100 employees. And then one day in 2017, the dreaded phone call came through, and all I heard was the word breast cancer come through the phone, Red. And I could barely understand what my wife was saying. She was hysterical. And that's the moment my life changed in 2017. And since then, praise God, she's breast cancer free and she's alive. And we started our business the same exact time that my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, like 2 months later. And we just never looked back. My wife never played the victim. So I never played the victim in getting our business off the ground. And since then, we built a multi-million-dollar business. Our brand is the makings of a millionaire mind. And we just love helping people and organizations. We've done huge trainings in leadership for the United States Air Force. And my motto is this: if we can add value to the United States Air Force, we can definitely add value to your organization or business.
Okay, I like that. What is a millionaire mindset? Let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, like in my book, "In the Makings of a Millionaire Mind," which is available on Audible or on at Amazon, it's people don't realize this is that you must first think like a millionaire before you become a millionaire. Everybody wants the results without putting in the effort. Everybody wants the results without putting in the work. You got to put in the work, right? You gotta change your noggin. You got to change the way you think. And most people, they don't think a certain way, and this is a sad truth. It doesn't matter if I speak in Florida. It doesn't matter if I speak in Texas. It doesn't matter if I speak in Hawaii or I speak in. We spoke in the UK here 2 years ago. The truth is, over 90% of us are conditioned to think in poverty. We're conditioned to think in lack, right? We're products of our environment, and the truth is that when you really think about it, it's like the programming that we have. Everybody has it, and I'm gonna demonstrate this to you, Red. Will you play along with me a little bit here? Like, I'm gonna start a sentence, Red, and I want you to finish it. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
I've never seen you in person, never met you in person. We met last month and we just got along really great. So I'm gonna start it. We've never been in the same city as far as growing up. So I'm gonna start it. You're gonna finish it to prove a point, right? Money doesn't grow on
trees.
The early bird gets the
worm.
Who do you think you
are?
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but
words will never harm me.
And what harms us as leaders, as business owners, more than anything else? Words. We've been lied to our whole lives. We've been lied to our whole lives as kids. Think about what I just said. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We've all heard that in the playground as kids growing up. And as adults, as I do a lot of my executive and business coaching, you know, grown men and women that are successful, you know what they still carry inside their heart, inside their soul? The words that their dad said, that their mom said: you're not good enough. Why can't you be like your sister? Why can't you be more like your brother? Or they go to the counselor to just try to make an aspiration of their life, right? To aspire to be more. And then the counselor says, you know, Red, you know, Daniel, I like you, but you're not college material. And that shatters their confidence and their self-esteem. This is the stuff that people carry with them, that I coach people through. And we give our clients major breakthroughs because we don't realize that we've all been conditioned to think a certain way, Red. And it breaks my heart when you see somebody that just really doesn't believe in themselves. And that's a lot of us, because that was me at one point.
I've heard it many times that there was 16 years or 18 years of age. The typical teenager's been told no about 80,000 times. No. And when you have that amount of negativity without being able to have a creative mind to shut down, there's a lot of issues there that generate and grow in the background.
Give me 1 second.
Is that a fair way of looking as a corollary to what you're saying? You never have a chance to think the other way.
Well, the thing is this: is that from the day you're born, to the age of 6 or 7, roughly, give or take a couple of months, from the day you're born to the age of 6, there's no subconscious thinking, right? There's no memory bank, right? It's a clean slate. It's a clean computer. So just imagine this phone was a brand new phone. No, right? There's no data in it. There's no story. It's a blank slate. So when we're born until the age of 6, this blank slate that we have between our brains, our ears, we're being conditioned, right? Because we're living in theta stage, and theta is THETA. We're living in theta. So we're taking in all this information as children, and we're products of the environment that we grew up in. So the language that we hear, that's how you learn English. That's how you learn Spanish. If you're in China, that's how you learn Chinese. So if you're hearing your mom and dad argue all the time, well, then guess what? You're going to have those traumas in you, because now you're going to have these fears. I'll never forget, I was a kid. I was probably about 5 years old, and I was traumatized because I was being chased by this big German Shepherd. And ever since then, I've had a fear of dogs. it traumatized me so much. And I was like, why do I always freak out when I see a big dog? Because I remember being that 5-year-old kid that it's like it's stuck in your nervous system. See, the biggest mistake is this. I always ask people, what is your mindset, right? Where is your mind at? Where's your mind, Red? Where's your mind, Daniel? And most people say, this is your mind. No, it's not your mind. Your brain is here, but your mind includes your brain, but it's not your brain. And most people get that question wrong. Your mind is a biosphere of your experiences in life. And many of those experiences are trapped in your nervous system. And then the files that we trap in our brain that are stored, the memories, that creates our mindset. And to your point is like, we make decisions right now as grown adults based on the kid that we were. Most of us make a decision right now based on the kid that we were, Red, and because most people are unaware.
I actually totally agree with you. There's no reason. I mean, our family, our school, our church, our co-workers, everything that we are is a combination of some aspect of those other relationships, experiences, learnings. And it's interesting that some people can have the exact same experience and be totally successful in life, and their peer does not. What separates that person who gets out of their comfort range and goes on to make a better life? What causes that interface in their mind or their mindset? Is it awareness? Is it education? Is it experience? What do you think causes that shift?
Well, so we'll just say you have two brothers, right? You have two brothers that grew up in the same home, broken family, domestic violence, and one of the brothers just dreams more. And for me, there's always, God has an amazing way of guiding us through life. There's always one person in that season of life that, right, in your teens, you meet a person, you meet a teacher. For me, it was a teacher that really helped me when I was in high school, when I was in troubled years. Mr. Jones, I remember he drove me to go get my license. He took me to go get my license. My own dad didn't even take me. So there's one person that took me to the next level. And then I believed in myself enough to where next thing you know, I met Mike Seneff. He was the owner of the first company that I really worked for full-time called Planet Interscapes. Him and his wife, Karen Seneff, they believed in me and just they fed belief into me when I didn't believe in myself. And sometimes you just need one person to believe in you for your life to change. So I think for me, my mom passed away when I was 10 years old. I tried to commit suicide when I was 18. And I still got my scar that reminds me from the top of my abdominal to the bottom. And it's like, the thing is, we moved a lot. There was no foundation a lot of times. But if you get one person to believe in you, for me, I can speak this from experience because I've experienced that. And then you get another brother that, right, maybe they don't have that. Because the thing is this, many times you can grow up in the same home, but think about this. A lot of times once we get older, do we really listen to our mom and dad? No, because we get filters in our thinking. We block them out. It's kind of like your wife or your husband. They tell you something, and yes, you hear them, but you don't listen to them. And then you can go to a meeting and hear the same information. You're like, hey, I just came from this networking event, or I just came from this business or this conference, and the speaker said X, Y, Z. And you're looking at your wife saying, I tell you that all the time. Now you're listening to me. So what we need to realize, what I want the audience to take away from this is that everyone develops relationship filters. And when we develop relationship filters, there's a point that we start to tune people out because we get too comfortable with them. And then we don't value the information they give us. And the second thing is with relationships is that if I would have known Red, right? If Red would have known me, we'll just say you met me 15 years ago, you would be like, Daniel's never going to be a speaker because you know me as who I was. And so many times in our life and our business, we're growing and God's given us favor. But even your family, they don't remember you as Daniel Gomez Inspires. They remember you as Danny, that chubby little kid. And that's their point of reference. and they want to keep you in that bondage.
When you were talking there about the believing in you, and sometimes it's an individual, but I look at it from a slightly different perspective. Let's say 18-year-old Daniel Gomez ended up in Marine Corps boot camp someplace. Totally different world. I mean, whatever you had before in a mindset disappears, because now you have a drill instructor who believes in you, even though he may not say so, but he's there to affect a change for better, but also a change to make you part of an environment that's going to work more effectively together. So yes, we can have that individual sometimes, because my uncle, my parish priest, my whatever it may happen to be, happens to be in the right place at the right time to say something to you. Oh my goodness, you're right. And then there's a little reinforcement by somebody else later on. Okay, so I have these little reinforcements, not the Marine Corps reinforcement, because that's 24/7, but I have these little reinforcements. But my brother, who also doesn't dream, has these reinforcements, and as you say, there's filters. So how does one realize they have a filter, and then how do you take that filter and open it up a little bit so the holes are wider for information to flow through?
So the thing is this, is that you have to have awareness. And I can tell you that 20 years ago, I had no awareness. I can tell you that 10 years ago, I had no awareness. I became aware when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. For most grown men and women, we're set in our ways. Nothing's going to change. Once you become 26 years old, this brain right here, it's fully developed. It's fully grown, right? It's fully developed, fully grown. At the age of 26, you're who you are. It's proven scientifically. But now you got a trauma that comes into your life, or you have a shock that comes into your life. And now you got attention. Think about this. What do I mean by that? Think about that family member or friend that used to weigh 300, 400, 500 pounds, and you hadn't seen them for a couple of years. All of a sudden you see them totally transformed. They lost 100, 200 pounds. Hey, what happened to you, Mike? Oh man, I had a heart attack. They told me that if I didn't change my eating habits, I'm going to die. And man, the light went on. Like, I don't want to die. So he did everything humanly possible, and he changed his ways. He was shocked into it. So sometimes you got to be shocked into that. I was shocked into the new Daniel Gomez that I am today. I wasn't aware in in January of 2017, Red. I can honestly tell you, I didn't like who I was at that moment. Looking back, I'm like, man, I didn't like that guy. So I can imagine other people didn't like me. But I didn't realize, right? I didn't realize how much shame, how much guilt, how much regret I was holding on inside of me. Just hurt from betrayal, just being in the automotive industry for 20 years. Like, as people, we carry this, and this is a mistake that we make, Fred, is we tell ourselves, oh, it doesn't bother me. Oh, it doesn't matter, right? It's okay. We sweep it under the rug. There's a chapter in my book, In the Makings of a Millionaire Mind, called Sweep It Under the Rug. And we sweep it under the rug, and we think that it's not going to bother us ever again. That's a lie. The truth is, sooner or later, it's going to rise up in a scenario, in a relationship, in an event. In some form or fashion, it's going to rise up in your life because you didn't deal with it, and it's going to come back, and it has to be dealt with. And for me, it was just really being aware now as I look back in 2017, as I was looking back at my life, man, there was a lot of things inside of me that I just needed healing. And the truth is this, there's a lot of men and women that are grown, and because I coach a lot of these people, they carry with them, Red, a lot of unforgiveness towards their mom, their dad, their ex-wife, their ex-husband, the ex-boss that fired them. And they never deal with it. And all of a sudden, they're like wondering, why do I feel unhappy? What's going on with me? And the biggest one is this. The biggest one that there's unhappiness inside of us is because we haven't forgiven ourselves, right?
Forgiveness and gratitude are two major words that most of us confuse a little bit. 7 years ago, you made a change, and you weren't a spring chicken. So that means that literally, if I'm 65, I can make a change in my life. because it's something that I can do. I have the physical ability, the mental ability, the emotional stability to make that change. You made a change for whatever reason, but it didn't happen 100%. It happened incrementally, and then maybe a little bit higher step. But there was things that said, okay, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to whatever. You had a mission in life at that time, 6 years ago, that changed a little bit as you got more clarity in where you were going. So that first year that you're making a change, you're a caregiver. So now your focus is not necessarily on Daniel Gomez, it's on Mrs. Daniel Gomez. And now you want to make a change. Now you want to do other things. That's a lot of stuff going on in your life. How did you cope with that initial change? Because that's pretty impressive. Being a caregiver for a wife with breast cancer and a survivor, I understand a lot of the stuff goes on. So there's a lot of stress that entered your life. So awareness, I understand very, very well. But for our audience here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, how did you begin that path of saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, but honey, I'm going to take care of you also?
Yeah, so it's three powerful letters, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's three powerful letters: G-O-D, God. God is the one that helped me through that season when my wife was diagnosed with stage-3 breast cancer, and God is the one that guided me through the season. Because the truth is this, Red, I couldn't do it on my own strength. There's no way I could build $1 million business by myself. How can I even come up with the makings of a Millionaire Mind brand? How can I couldn't. But it broke me. It brought me to my knees, to where I forgave myself, first of all, and then I forgave the people that hurt me. I released all the shame in levels, right? Like you're saying, in increments. And then my wife is there. And I went to this conference. I found out a true startling fact. This is a true stat, that over 70% of men that are married to a woman that's diagnosed with breast cancer, they leave them when they have a double mastectomy. And that never entered my mind, Red. That never entered my mind. So God is the one that gave me the love to love my wife even more. God is the one that gave me the compassion to have on ourselves. Because so many times, Red, we're kinder to everybody else around us in business, right? Sometimes, and we're not as kind to our own family. I see it all the time. I see people in leadership, whether you're a CEO, CFO, C-suite, business owner, it doesn't matter. I see them treat their customers better than they treat their own kids and their own wife. And then we wonder why. We wonder why our businesses are failing. We wonder why things ain't right. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. You can be a 7-figure business owner. You can be a 7-figure man in your business, but you can be a 10-cent man in your home. Let me say it again. You can be a 7-figure business owner, but you're going to be a 10-cent man at home. It doesn't work that way. It's not sustainable. Because you can have all the success you want in business, but you can be a public superstar, but you can be a private wreck in your own home. And there's many people that live that way, and people don't see that. They just see what they want to see. And I've learned that. I've seen that, right? Someone's a public success here, but they're struggling at home. I see that all the time, Red.
I see that a lot in Hollywood and with certain kind of stars, whether it's athletics or others. But I remember back when I was a kid, my best friend, I'd go over to his house. His dad would treat me totally different than he would treat him. He would come to my house. My dad would treat my friend, So in other words, there's that family relationship that you're talking about. And then there's the outside world that gets treated a little bit differently. So I think most of us have probably had that. You go to a friend's house and, your friend is dejected, down because of whatever, but you have a perfectly good conversation with his parents. It's interesting. But getting back here, you became a speaker. Speakers just don't bloom overnight. You became a coach. Coaches don't bloom overnight. So let's kind of go into your speaking world, your coaching world, and your award-winning world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, like I mentioned before, I was 20 years automotive, and in 20 years in the automotive industry, you learn a lot, right? You learn sales, you learn communication, and as I moved up the ranks at the Chevy store I ran, I had over 100 employees. So we started, right? We took a business that was losing $1 million in the red. We were literally losing $1 million in the red every year. So from losing $1 million to making $1 million, $2 million swing in 13 months. Everybody thought I was crazy when I took that opportunity on. They said, why are you taking this? Don't do it. You can't win. Like, right? Everything's against you. But the thing is, regardless of what people told me and the leadership that was upon me, ownership, like the sun was putting pressure on me, regardless of what the pressure was, we did it. And I learned so much business savvy, I didn't realize it. And on this journey for these years that I was taking the business from A to B, from losing $1 million to making $1 million, I started training every single Monday. I didn't train because of my ego, Red. I trained because I love to help people. It hurt me when my team was losing. It hurt me when we weren't doing what we were supposed to do. So every Monday, I would go in there and do the sales training. So I would speak for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. You can't do a sales meeting so long because you lose people, right? You have a 30-minute attention span. And I did this Monday after Monday, month in, month out, Monday after Monday. So when God put the idea in my heart, as I reflected back, I'm like, I've been speaking for the last several years and I didn't even realize it. I had been speaking. I'm a great business coach because I opened my mind like, man, people ask me this. They go, Daniel, how in the heck did you become a paid speaker? Most speakers fail, Red, because all they want to do is speak. They have no concept of business. They have no idea of business. When I came in, I decided to become a speaker. My idea was I'm not going to speak. I'm going to build a speaking business. And that's what I did. We made over 100,000, over six figures the first year, not knowing what I was doing. And I didn't really understand how I did it. But looking back, I knew business. So I brought in that business savvy. Once I opened myself to the new identity, the trouble is this, is many people, they want to be successful in speaking, but they don't want to let go of the old identity of who they were. You can't get the new without the, right? You can't get the new without letting go of the old. Let me say it again, ladies and gentlemen. You can't get the new without letting go of the old. You got to let that old identity die. You got to release the old in order to receive the new. It's the law of vacuum of prosperity. You got to, you're not going to, nothing new is going to come into your life, into your business until you let go of the old. So when I killed off that old identity, the speaker, Daniel Gomez, I embraced it right away. And my mind started thinking in numbers. I'm like, man, I know more about business than I realized. The truth is this. Somebody came and asked me for guidance. I said, I'm not a coach. I don't know what it is. I went to a conference. They trained us about speaking. And then they talked about coaching. And I'm like, coaching? I'm like, I mentored 100 employees for the last 10 years. I must know a little bit. And then once I opened myself up to it, it was over. And all the business that I knew for the last 20 years came out of me. And the thing is this, is most people stop there. I've kept learning and investing in myself. Since 2017 until this date, right now, I've invested probably close to $500,000 in myself, easily over 400,000. But I would say I'm pushing the $500,000 mark. That's why we're the business we are today. And most young speakers, they just want to pay for one program or something one time. It doesn't work that way. You got to put in the reps. You got to change your thinking, and you got to embody in that. So people say, Daniel, what are you doing now, right? So here we do our book publishing. Well, because I'm an author. And then when somebody came to me for book publishing advice, and God said, start a book publishing company. Now we've done over 100 books for our authors because people come to our Speaking Academy Sticker Shock and they need a book. So our trunk of business is this, Red. I speak. We have a branch for book publishing. We have a branch for speaking, our Speaking Academy Sticker Shock, the world's premier international speaking academy. Then we got our events, the Makings of a Millionaire Mind Bootcamp live event. And then we have our business sales accelerator, because if you're in business, the truth is this, Red, you need sales. And most people, they don't want to embrace the sales identity, and they wonder why their businesses are failing. So everything that we do is in alignment with speaking, because every speaker needs a book. Every speaker, not every speaker, but a lot of speakers want to start a podcast. So we have a podcast launching program also. So everything is in the same wheelhouse, and that's why we succeed, because everything's in alignment. It's all in the same vertical, and one event feeds another event, and that's what we're known for.
Daniel, we call the show The Wise Ones because we get people who have experience and share their wisdom, and you've certainly shared a lot today. One of the things that I learned very abruptly on a weekend is that everything in my life that I had done through the military, through college, through business, through corporate, through everything, had always been training me to improve the bottom line of whoever I work for, or the effectiveness or efficiency of that company. However, on a weekend in a multi-level marketing business that my wife was in, I attended as her partner. All of a sudden, the training was going to the individual, and it dawned on me. I mentioned to my wife a couple of times driving home. I think that was the first time I ever had training for me to improve me. And you're talking about the same thing. You had been training, but all of a sudden you realize it's training you. And all of our business training, whether it's for supervision, budgeting, it doesn't matter what it is, it's all to improve the bottom line of the company you're working for. But the mindset is there is so much training out there to improve the individual, but we're not aware of it. Or if we're aware of it, it's not worth the time or the money in order to make that. And so I have to applaud you for not only recognizing it, the awareness part, but taking that money and putting it down on the table in order to make that change, and then to realize that that's going to lead to the next one. And you're seeing the bigger picture. So from a wise one perspective, just because you're speaking doesn't mean there's another 15 businesses that support it that can't be created because of that. So that to me is pretty darn impressive. So Daniel, congratulations on that. Tell us about the award you won. I noticed on your, I'd like to bring up your website here in just a moment, just very quickly, but you, on your LinkedIn page, you talked about an award-winning coach or something. I'm not sure. Award-winning business coach.
So for the last 3 years, I've been one of the top business coaches here in San Antonio, Texas, South Texas area. This past year, actually, I was voted in the top 5. So it's just really just being recognized by my peers. I'm very active in our community here in San Antonio. I'm very active in what we do on LinkedIn, and just I'm known for business coaching. So if you go to our website right now, you're going to see I've never changed the video, Red. It's me training the United States Air Force. And my motto is, if we can add value to the United States Air Force, we can add value to your life or to your organization, which is the truth. So when I trained the United States Air Force, I really opened myself up to receive at higher levels. And that's it right there. That's the video you're showing. And I can't think of the article. They just did an article on me. I have it framed. And I was very, very honored, because it was people. It's not something that I volunteered for. They just recognized me for the last 3 years. And I've gotten I've probably gotten about 4 awards for my business coaching, because I get the results. I mean, it's just the bottom line. My longest client right there, McCombs Ford West. I've been doing leadership development and team building there with leadership for over 6 years now. And to have an account for 6 years, no one, I mean, they haven't let me, right? You have to bring value. You have to bring value. Imagine that. You have to bring value for 6 years in a row. And I just bring the value because I'm always investing in me. Because if I bring the same old training over and over, they're going to throw me out. So I've always invested in myself. And that's me right there inspiring. That's me and John Maxwell speaking in Atlanta, Georgia. I shared the stage with John Maxwell in 2020. That was 2022. Phenomenal experience for myself to share stage with John Maxwell. Learned a lot from him. But you know what I realized there, Red, and this is a true story. I was there. My assistant was there. And she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "What do you mean, what's wrong with you?" She's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm nervous. I'm going to follow John Maxwell. He's a keynote speaker." She goes, "I've never seen you nervous." I said, "Well, I've never followed John Maxwell." But the truth is this. I rose to the occasion, Red. I rose to the occasion. I held my own. God told me, just speak. Just go up there on stage and don't worry, I'm going to speak through you. We had like 20 people crying. We sold out of books that afternoon because the message I delivered, I stuck to my own lane. Didn't worry about what John Maxwell and any other speaker. I spoke from the heart of Daniel Gomez, and it resonated with the audience. And it showed in the reflection of how many books, how many programs we sold that day to help the people that were there.
It's amazing. I've been to a number of different conferences and events, and you have the keynote speaker, and it's always a good person, great information, a lot of value. And then somebody comes up afterwards who shocks you because, well, that was the keynote, but here's a guy wrapping the show up that just is amazing. And so maybe it's that challenge, that inner ability to, in other words, when I'm speaking, one of the things that I do ahead of time is I visualize the success of my audience before I ever open my mouth. I'm 30 minutes before I'm there. I'm running that scenario through my brain of what I'm expecting from a success perspective, so that I'm already in that mode by the time that I'm actually on the stage and doing what I'm doing. But that's a part of me. But when you're talking about getting on stage and having those butterflies that are they're taking that chest and thumping it back and forth, there's a lot of things there. And I wanted to go one other direction before I wrap up the show. And let me see if I can figure out what that direction is really quickly.
No, yes, sir. Well, thank you.
My brain sometimes does that. I want to go there, but I'm listening to you, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. And okay, well, it must not be that important because it didn't stay in my brain. So anyway, let's go ahead and begin wrapping up things. Who is a good customer for you? How do they get in touch with you? What value do you add? So I'm going to turn the show over to you here for the next minute or two, and then we'll get ready to wrap things up.
So many times I see small businesses. If you're a small business and you're struggling with sales, if you don't have a sales process, if you don't have a follow-up system, if you don't even ever do any training in sales, you need Daniel Gomez, right? I'm one of the premier top sales trainers here. Like I mentioned, I've been with McCombs Ford West. We did a huge real estate training yesterday. Everyone needs sales. And this is what I realized, Red, is that most sales professionals don't rise above their self-image. If you have a poor self-image, you're not going to be very successful as an account executive, as a salesperson. And second of all, if you're a business owner and you need business wisdom, business savvy, I've built $1 million business from nothing by the grace of God. I know what it is to hit $1 million in revenue and surpass that. So we've built that business. So if you need help and you're stuck in your business and you don't know where to go, you're trying to figure it out, stop trying to figure it out and let me help you compress it. We took a client that had never seen the numbers they have, and now their numbers are amazing. They were making 19 million. They took their business to over 40 million because we opened up the mind to what was possible. We changed some strategies along the way, and everything changed. So if you're a business owner, if you're stuck, if you need help, I can come in and help you, whether it's through sales, right, through working on your sales process or just leadership development and training. I have the expertise, and I've been in business myself going on 7 years already, and we're just growing from here. So I've built it. And many times we don't know how to build something because we've never built it before. Or maybe your business has been existent and you're just stagnant, right? You're on that tipping point coming down the curve and you don't know. And you're using the same strategies, the same business strategies as last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Well, let me tell you, the market has changed dramatically. And if you're not shifting the way you do business for the future, you're missing out. And that's where I can come in and help you with that. And if you need one-on-one executive coaching, I help a lot of executive coaches, because the truth is this, Red, if you have an insecure leader, if you have an insecure owner, or if you have someone who has really never dealt with the inner issues in their lives, sometimes that owner, not intentionally, but they'll cause more harm in the business than good because of just of their insecurities, and they don't realize it. And there's a spiritual element to what we do in business. We're not human beings trying to figure out in the spiritual world. We're spiritual beings trying to figure out how this human body. And to have a successful business, there has to be you have to take care of your spirit, also your soul. And many business owners don't do that. And we can coach you to do that also, Red.
I remembered what I wanted to talk about, because I think in our conversation we had before we got you signed up for the show here, you're talking about how you not only survived, but you grew during COVID, during our pandemic, again, which is the mindset of somebody, yeah, there's a pandemic out there, but how can I overcome that part. So even during a major change in the business cycle in the United States, worldwide, literally, you were able to get more customers, grow your business. Again, a kudos, pat on the back, clapping. There's just so many things there that when you look at success, it happens, and it's because of somebody who knows how to drive the train. So, and what's the best way for people to reach you? Your best contact information.
Well, you know what? Just send me an email at that email right there, Daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com. I would love to give your audience a complimentary discovery session. If you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, let's have a virtual coffee for 30 minutes. Send me an email there that says virtual coffee. I'll send you the link. You'll schedule a call, and it's my gift to your audience, Red, of just to pour back into them, because I believe that we all need help every once in a while, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without, first of all, the help of God, and then the people that He's brought into my life to take me to the next level.
Okay, so Daniel is Daniel for our audio audience. Gomez, Gomez, speaker.com. So DanielGomezSpeaker.com. So it's Daniel@DanielGomezSpeaker.com.
Yes, the email's at Daniel@DanielGomezSpeaker.com. Yes, sir. Just email virtual coffee, and we'll send them the link right away. I'll get my assistant to do that, and that way they can set up their free 30-minute coaching call.
You put out a lot of wisdom today here on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV Radio Network. I would love to have you come back again in a while, and because apparently you're an ever learning slope, and what you know now doesn't mean that months down the road you're going to have some new information to share with the world. So, Daniel, I look forward to us getting together again down the road. So anyway, thank you very much for your time and your energy and your wisdom today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Red. It's been an honor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And please reach out for that virtual coffee. I'd love to help you.
Okay. Take care, Daniel. red.olaughlin here again on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. In a few minutes, literally about 19 minutes, my next show, the Talking Heads, we're going to be wrapping up a show that we've been talking about stress, toxins, emotional, and mental health over the last probably 8 weeks. So today's my final wrap up on all of that. We can talk about each one of those topics, the effects, the controls, everything that you need to know in a wrap up session. That's what we're covering today on Talking Heads. So with that, I am going to leave the Talking Heads portion of USA Global TV and Radio Network and catch you all next week. Take care. Bye now.
Women of the Caribbean and around the world, are you tired of the status quo? Tired of barely making ends meet? Tired of giving maximum effort for minimum results? Are you in need of change, a fresh start, a new outlook, a new perspective. It's time to break through. Join us along with women from around the world at the Empower Her Escape, a 5-day all-inclusive royal cruise to the Bahamas and Florida. Connect with world leaders and influencers and begin afresh your journey to more. Hear dynamic speakers with sessions on women in leadership, the importance of mentorship, how to start a business from the ground up, financial literacy, an integrated approach to wellness and wholeness, and so much more. Guest speakers include First Lady Anne-Marie Davis of the Bahamas, Her Royal Highness Katerina of Yugoslavia Lady de Silva, Her Royal Highness Queen Sekothali Mephena of South Africa, and Coach Max, Global Multi-Six-Figure Wealth Coach. Cruise packages include 2 nights at an all-exclusive resort, gratuities, taxes, and port fees, red carpet welcome and extravaganza, course materials, and a souvenir gift bag, flight not included. The Empower Her Escape Cruise takes place on May 15th through the 19th, 2024, departing from the port of Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, Florida. Hosts for this life-changing event are Coach Cherish Hollingsworth of Florida and Coach Mercy Gilbert of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.empowerherroyalescape.com or call us at 954-203-6608 or email us at cherishresiliencecoach@gmail.com. Connect, collaborate, celebrate at the Empower Her Escape Cruise.